Hi, thanks for joining Scruffy Politics. Stimpy over here in Detroit Metro, Steve-O over in the far western suburbs, and we're going to talk about the hands-off protest. The Democrats organized thousands of these protests across the United States to voice their displeasure with the Trump administration and probably specifically Elon Musk. I think there was a lot of stuff that they had to say about Tesla. And the one thing that I find interesting is the little bit of media coverage that was on it. It seemed like a lot of these people were old, white, retired people that probably have loads of money in their 401ks and bank accounts. And you didn't see a lot of young people out there. It seemed like a lot of old people that had nothing better to do than come out and say they were pissed off about something.
I don't know. When I saw pictures of it, I saw various ages: young, old, middle, people in their 30s, 40s. So, and it's not just the Democrats who went out and protested, it's a lot of independents, probably some Republicans themselves who have voters' remorse, or maybe some Republicans who did not vote for Trump just because of morals. And but I know someone who I don't consider her a Democrat, and she went out to one of the protests, and I think people are just so disgusted with how ugly this administration has started out, with everything they've done with letting go of so many federal jobs. And a lot of these federal jobs, they're not just all cushy white collar jobs, high paying. There's, the forest rangers out there. There's, other types of jobs out there that are environmentally you need. And then what's so funny is after some have been laid off, then Elon and his people and other people are like, oh, wait, yeah, we've been reminded that we laid too many people off and this could be a danger. And then they want to rehire the people back, which is kind of funny. But I think people are just disgusted. Like, they see their 401ks dropping to, lower figures. Their 401k is now a 201k, like Eric Swalwell said. I like that line. And, healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid for those with disabilities who need that. So I'm not sure about you, Brett. Yeah, your focus.
I was trying to look up a stat there while you were talking. I heard some stats the other day on the USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture, that absolutely blew me away. I can't find them real quick here, but I mean, it blew me away when they threw out some stats as far as like how many people worked there. And the building that they're in, was actually the largest by square footage building in all of Washington, D.C. at one point. So the only reason I bring that up is to say, like, I understand that a lot of people are freaking out because they feel like Donald Trump is doing too much too fast. But the point is, one of his central messages on the campaign trail was that he was going to downsize government. So a lot of people knew that, and they still voted for him. And I think you can have issues with the government, but I think the government is way larger than it needs to be. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. So it's unfortunate when you hear stories of people losing their job. I've lost my job before. I didn't have any person in the media crying for me on TV saying that it was wrong and it was unjust, when some company decided to let me go because I don't know why they made some kind of financial change and I didn't fit into the picture, so I love how these people lose their job, and it's like, wow, they have the whole media out there crying for them. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, life is so tough. I lost my job. A lot of people lose their jobs, I didn't see the media out there crying for the guys on the pipeline, the XL pipeline, when Biden shut that down when he got elected. No one gave a damn that those guys lost their job, or how many times have coal miners lost their job. So I don't really feel that bad for these people that lost their job. Some of them, it was probably a mistake, and they were like, Elon Musk actually said it perfectly. If you're doing a necessary job and you're doing it well, we want you working for the federal government. The people that we don't want are the people that are not doing a job that's necessary, or they're just plain not good at it. Perfect example, they sent this email out and said, tell us 5 things that you did recently. And everybody immediately got upset because they thought it was a, like we're challenging you to see what you're doing for work. It's like a review of your work. And come to find out, he was like, no, it's a review to see if you have a heartbeat. Are you an alive human being that we're actually sending a paycheck to? Because their theory was we're sending out a lot of government paychecks, and they could be to criminals that are sitting around collecting this money. It may not even actually be a federal worker.
I could see that point, but just I think people are also upset about Elon's government deal that made him, millions and billion times richer with the Cybertruck deal. It's just there's a lot of hypocrisy and just yeah, like you've said and I've said, there's too much going on all at once, and a lot of it is Trump loves shock value. He loves the attention. He loves the news. He loves to be the guy in charge. A lot of it is that. A lot of it is because he doesn't even know if it's right or wrong. He loves the shock value. He loves to be talked about. He loves this. He loves that he has, his pro Trump people and his camp, and he loves that he has haters. That's Trump. If he makes the news, it's good for him. And he likes being in power. He likes to be the one in charge. And Musk, I could see that too. I know Musk has kind of shied away lately from the White House, but
See, I don't see that. I just see a guy that had an agenda, and now he's getting things done. He's going through what he wanted to do, and he's getting them done. He's making changes to federal bureaucracies. He's downsizing the size of the government. He's fixing the border. I mean, some of the numbers on the border are staggering. They said something like the other day we went from like having 100,000 border crossings down to 5,000 now. 100,000 down to 5,000. And it's because one reason only. The people, everybody south of Texas got the message like, don't come. It's not worth it. We don't want you here. The free checks are over. You're not getting a luxury hotel. You're not going to order off the menu and have somebody do your laundry for you on the government taxpayer's dime. So don't show up, right?
well, I don't think people from other countries are wanting to come here because they might be shipped somewhere dangerous. And even if a judge orders for a plane to come back and return the people, Trump knows that he can defy federal order because he's the president, and
Well,
and I think people see that. I don't think yes, it's great to get rid of gang members. We don't know if all of them were gang members. Some went by the fact that they had tattoos on their neck. There's some people who have tattoos on their neck that are not gang members, but I think people see that Trump, he doesn't follow. The Republican Party is supposed to be the party of they follow rule and law, and that's not what Trump is doing, as we've seen with his tariffs and trade manipulation that happened yesterday. We've seen how he acts and how he disregards basic human rights. And I think people are just sick and tired of it. Like, even George W. Bush, he wasn't that good of a president, but at least, yeah, people didn't like him, but at least, okay, he hasn't created any impeachable offenses yet, Whereas Trump, oh my gosh, if he has a mess of the Department of Defense or Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who is probably one of the worst people in his administration. Why hasn't he tried any tariffs on Russia by chance? Okay, he tried tariffs in Antarctica, but not Russia.
I don't know what our trade situation is with Russia, other than I'm sure we get oil from them.
Yeah,
But
Trump.
that's probably in a very small quantity.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate. I think people are really tired of just the manipulation and the lies that this administration is carrying out every day. Trump, his press secretary, she is just
Oh, she's
I
awesome.
oh, she's awful. She
She's
lies.
great. She's
She lies.
articulate. She answers
I
the
get it.
questions.
She's young. She's 27. She wants to boost her career,
I mean,
but
you do remember that we never heard from Biden, right? And Biden had a press secretary that came out and literally answered every question the same way. I don't have anything for you on that. I don't have anything for you on that. I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you on that. Oh, I'll have to circle back on that. We don't have any. I mean, I can't tell you how many times they brought in other people to do her job. She didn't even show up to the podium. And you never heard from Joe Biden. So I mean, this is like an unprecedented level of access. Trump talks to these people now. He has them literally in the Oval Office when he's signing executive orders, and they get to ask questions. I mean, Biden didn't even
wait,
do
wait,
formal press
but
conferences.
but he gets to choose who asks the questions. He doesn't allow certain news outlets in there. He's against free speech. He's against journalism. He's against journalists doing their job.
Well,
And
first of all,
that's
there's no real
crazy.
journalists in Washington D.C. We all know
Well,
that.
I mean,
But he's
if
not
the
excluding
journalists
anyone.
don't
The one that
defend,
they tried to exclude was the Associated Press, and the courts ruled that they could come in there. So they're in there too. If anything,
and
actually, they care more about free speech because what the Biden administration was doing was restricting it only to their friends like ABC, NBC, and the like. Trump actually expanded it to reach more news coverage sites. So now you have podcasters, you have internet outfits. So there's
yes,
actually a
yes, he
wider
wants
array.
podcasters who aren't real journalists to ask questions. So like oh my gosh, he would love to have a Joe Rogan ask him questions, who's not
Well,
a
the
real
the
journalist.
actual journalists you're describing in Washington D.C. have all been so blatantly displayed as liars that they're not journalists either. They're all Democrats. They're Democrat cheerleaders. I
Well,
mean, you heard the thing recently about George Stephanopoulos, how they said after he did the interview, one of the staffers said, how did it go? And he said it was heartbreaking. He's like, Biden's a joke. He's falling apart right in front of our eyes. He couldn't even do the interview.
well, yeah, yeah,
That's what he was saying behind the scenes,
but
but he was telling
also,
the American public, this guy's good to go. He's going to
but
be our next president.
but also George Stephanopoulos also did an interview. I thought it was him who was like, "Are you sure you can be president for a second term?" Because I think that's when you know Biden was. We were all realizing, yeah, he's
I
well,
mean, the American people could see it and they got it right. And yet, all those media people were defending Biden right up till the very end. All of them defended him. In
yeah,
fact, you
well,
know what's even really sad about it? Do you know who actually couldn't come out and actually just do what needed to be done? I'm sure you've heard this. And I hate using stuff like this because you don't know if it's true. But a lot of people have reported that even Barack Obama couldn't come out and say what had to be said. He was the one that reached out to George Clooney and asked him to write that op-ed, which was basically asking Biden to step down because he couldn't do it himself. It
yeah,
was his vice president, but he wanted him to go. And there's
yeah,
also a lot of rumors out there that said Barack Obama, which this I very much believe, because any disagreement that I have with Barack Obama, the one thing I will say is he was a very savvy politician. The one thing that he did better than any Democrat I've ever seen was he spoke like an independent. He spoke at times like a conservative, but then he acted like a liberal when it came time to do things. But there's rumors that he didn't want even Kamala to run because I think he was smart enough to see that that wasn't going to
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah. We
So there's
needed
a lot of people saying that he did not want her to run.
Yeah, the Democrats definitely messed up, and they really have to think hard about 2028 for president. But they really need to think about the midterms and
Yep.
and I'm not a Democrat, but I'm rooting for the Democrats for the midterms because
I guarantee you, just watch. I guarantee you, they have probably, because of their lack of credibility with Biden, destroyed the old guard. So, I mean, all these people are going to retire anyway, right? The people like Biden and Schumer and Pelosi, they'll all be wiped out
Schumer
in the
needs
next
to
couple of
go.
years.
Schumer is the worst, and
Yep.
McDermott needs to go too.
Now,
Yeah,
what's going to be
and
interesting to
Nancy
see,
Pelosi.
though, so the future of the Democrat Party is far more left. The future of the Democrat Party is people like AOC.
See, and that's unfortunate in a way because I don't like it so far left, but at least AOC has more balls than some of these higher ups in the Democratic Party, like Chuck Schumer and Dick
Yep.
Durbin. At least she's not afraid.
Yep.
She's not afraid. And who I like, I might not agree with him all the time. Oh gosh, that Eric Swalwell from
Yeah.
California. He's speaking up more. I'd
Yep.
actually rather see him, take control of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. The guy that was sleeping with a Chinese spy that never owned
Oh,
up to it.
oh well, well, oh, well, oh well, well. Trump also slept with a bunch of women too. So
And
yeah,
don't forget Dianne Feinstein. She had a Chinese spy driving her around for 20 years while she was talking about congressional matters in her or Senate matters in her
God,
vehicle. But that's okay.
yeah.
Democrats do stuff like that. All
Well,
right. Well, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Here you will find real opinions, not Democrat cheerleaders like they have in Washington, D.C.
yeah, and two
Thanks.
people who can actually converse and disagree without yelling at each other.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just a conversation. It's just politics. It's not the end of the world. Democrats don't need to get upset and spray paint Nazi on Teslas, and MAGA people with their red hats don't need to get upset at Democrats and
and
call
and,
them
and
names
attack
and run
police
them over with
officers
their
at the
big pickup
Capitol,
trucks. What's that?
and they don't need to attack police officers at the Capitol.
And they don't need to attack police officers
Yeah,
at the Capitol. That is
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
That's wrong. We don't want that.
Okay,
All
thank you.
right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.